So I'm getting close to 10 years of home workouts, and in that time, I've used a lot of different equipment. And in this video, I wanted to share what I've stuck with and currently have and use in my home workout training. So with that, I'm going to go over 3 different types of equipment that I have, but 4 distinct home gym setups. Pick which one you think works best for you, but let's get right into it. So to start out, I'm going to talk about the cheapest option, which uses resistance bands as the main focus for this home gym. So the resistance bands I use in this are the Undersun resistance loop bands. Now, you can use whatever you want, but those are the ones that I prefer. And to go along with that, I use a bar, and the one I use is the Instar Resistance Bands bar. And I've recently changed over to the 2-piece from the 1-piece, even though I kind of like the 1-piece better. Main reason is you can travel with it, so I have more versatility in that equipment. Now, in order to attach the loop bands to the bar, I do use triangle links, and these have been rated to withstand a lot of resistance, so it's why I chose them, and they fit these bands perfectly for my home workouts. And to complete that base setup, I do have a standing platform called the Step, which gives you about 4-inch clearance off the ground and allows for some pre-stretch in the band for your exercises. But to complement that further, I like to use J-hook handles. I currently have the Acme ones, but I am currently looking for other handles that rotate when you use them. So these ones, they're great, but the handles don't rotate, making some exercises a little awkward. And then the very last item I have is a door anchor, and this is mainly set above my door so I can do pull-down base movements. So the main ones would be, of course, pull-downs, and even things like cable crunches are used as well, or straight arm pull-downs. So I do have some exercises in my routines that use it, so that is why I have a door anchor. But if you don't, feel free to attach it to anything that's above you, tree limb, I don't know, beam in your house, whatever that might be for your workout. So with that, I'm going to go over why I really like this particular resistance band setup quite a bit. To start out, it is by far the cheapest option I have on this list. Only a couple $100 will get you everything in here off Amazon, or if you want to buy from somewhere else, but just know it's by far the cheapest option for someone looking to build a nice little home gym. Also, you don't have any heavy weights to carry and lug around. So think about doing it at home. You don't need to kind of like get them out of your closet like I have, or pick them up and potentially drop them on anything. Again, you are working out in your home in this case, and I'm not in my garage, I'm actually in my office working out. So I'm trying not to damage anything or even drop it on myself. So again, I really don't have any of those issues when it comes to dropping the weights or whatever during my workout routine. And one thing I really love when using resistance bands and the tempo I do each of my reps for my exercises is that I can't really cheat and throw the weight up. Yes, I could probably get out of perfect technique, but I can't use momentum to kind of throw them up into position. I have to make sure I go through the entire range of motion against additional resistance in order to complete each rep. Now, this might not be perfect for every strength to resistance curve, but again, I can't really cheat and throw it against gravity or like into the air to allow it to then get to the top of the movement without me actually going through and having my muscles contract the entire time. And my last point, if you want to travel, this is by far the best option. I'd probably just go with the handles and the resistance bands and then just stand on it if I was traveling around. I wouldn't take the step platform and the bar, but just know because it's 2-piece, you could take the bar with you if you have a suitcase that will fit it. Of course, you might, if you're flying, have to get it through security, but if it does, it'll easily travel with you. Alright, so next up, we are going to move into a dumbbells and bodyweight option, and this is the cheaper of the two, so let's take a look. So for this one, I really like the Core Fitness adjustable dumbbells. Mine personally go up to 50 pounds. I've had them for 5 years. I know they have changed them on their website a little bit, but it's pretty much the same thing. So again, I've had mine for a very long time, and they've got a lot of use in those 5 years. The one thing missing with dumbbells is that you can't do any overhead pulling movements with them. So with that, I like the Cross Grips by J-Flex as my doorway equipment for doing vertical pulling exercises. Next up is the Libre Fitness Equalizers XL, and this is a dip bar station I primarily use when I find an exercise that I can max the weight on. So for example, bent over rows, I can max the 50 pounds for all the reps in my even first and second and third sets. So what I do is I actually do inverted rows with additional weight in order to continue progressive overload since I can max it. Moving on is one of my favorite pieces of equipment I've had in the recent years, and that is the Hyperbell, both the straight bar and the easy curl bar versions. Now I personally use the easy curl bar more because I use it for bicep curls and tricep extensions, but either or, if you want to do like Romanian deadlifts or something with it, feel free to do so. Now if you're someone looking to only use it for bicep and tricep exercises, take a look at my video on the carry angle to decide which one's best for you. And my last piece of equipment is a backpack. So I just use a small backpack. I take the plates from the Core Fitness dumbbells and put it in to enhance my body weight movements. So just like the resistance bands, here are some reasons I really like this particular setup. First off, the price is pretty fair, especially for someone just starting out and looking to use some weights and movements that are easy to follow along with online. I think this is a really good starting point and won't break the bank for most people. Again, with many of these exercises, you can just hop over to YouTube or your favorite channel and look up how to do many of these exercises, as dumbbells are a very commonly used piece of equipment, especially in home gyms. So again, if you're struggling to do a movement, you can always look it up and see ways you can focus on it, get cues, and figure out how to better target that muscle. Now 50 pounds might not seem like a lot, but for the average person, it's probably all they'll ever really need if they just want to stay in decent shape. Yes, of course you can do more or buy heavier dumbbells in the future, but a good starting point would be this, and then once you can max it and even body weight movements with like a backpack and weight, then you can look to get heavier dumbbells. So I think this is a very good starting point for the price of these dumbbells and the other equipment you get alongside it. And the last reason I really like this setup is the Hyperbell does fit on the Core Fitness dumbbells, at least the version I got. Maybe the updated ones, I'm not too sure. So if you're getting the newer version, make sure you reach out to Core Fitness before purchasing it to make sure they fit. For me, it is a tight fit. So it's like I kind of have to do that little extra push down and then lock into place, but do know it does fit for me. So now we are on to our third setup, and this is going to be another dumbbell setup, but we have heavier dumbbells this time. Not only that, we're getting into pretty expensive territory for a lot of people here, so do know, make sure you have this much money and that you're at the skill level of this before actually purchasing this equipment. So first off, we have the Dumbbells. These are pretty similar to the Core Fitness dumbbells, but I think overall the quality is a bit better, and the ones I have go up to 80 pounds instead. And to complement that, I am going to throw my first adjustable bench, and that is the Ironmaster Super Bench Pro. Now there is a second edition, but I don't have that one as I still use my original one I got some time ago. And in order to enhance the Ironmaster bench, I actually got the pull-up bar attachment. And the main reason was to get off my door frame, as it's not always the safest option to use your door frame with the cross grips. So in this case, I went and said, how do I get off that? I got a standalone bench with that pull-up bar attachment, and it works very well. I think when it is at an upright position, it can hold up to something like 600 pounds. So I'm nowhere near that. Just know when it's flat, the bench is flat, it can hold 1,000 pounds of weight. And the last item of this would be wrist straps. So I do use wrist straps with the 80s, as I find that my grip actually gives out early when doing many of the lower body movements before like my legs are tired at all. So that's why I use wrist straps. I would probably recommend it too if you get to this point. But do know, some of you may be able to go well beyond 100 or 80 pounds, so you might need to look at something else. But for me, 80 pounds is probably the most I'll really ever need for doing dumbbell-based movements. And if I need more than that, I'll probably switch over to a compound bodyweight movement and do what I do with the Core Fitness dumbbells and just throw those same plates in a backpack. So just like the two before it, here is why I really like this setup. So first off, this is a very expensive setup. I'm not gonna lie, the dumbbells themselves are something like over $800, but do know if you bought all individual dumbbells at that same amount of weight, so like 5, 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 80, and 2 of each, it would be way more than the $800. It's actually over $1,000 to purchase all those separately. So do know you're actually saving money, and you don't have to buy an entire rack to put somewhere. You could have it in 2 tiny dumbbells. So that's kind of how I justify it, but I understand it is still really expensive for 80 pounds worth of dumbbells. But the big improvement comes with the adjustable bench, especially with the pull-up attachment. Again, getting off your door frame just makes things safer, and the bench with the pull-up bar has been extremely stable when I use it. So I've really enjoyed using that setup. Again, the bench is really expensive. You're going to be spending probably over $500 to get the bench with the attachments. It has other attachments too, don't get me wrong. I actually have the dip bars, but don't really use them since I have the Liebert ones. But do know you can outfit an entire gym around this bench if you wanted to, but I personally really only use the pull-up bar attachment. And just remember that the bench, when laying flat, can hold up to 1,000 pounds of weight, and when it's at an incline or vertical, it can hold up to 600 according to their website. So we completed 3 gym setups that I really like using both resistance bands and different dumbbell and slightly different setups. The next one is going to be by far the most expensive and an item I actually got for free and made a review on. So if you want to check out the full review, I will link it in the description. But just know this one is really expensive, and that is going to be the Speediance Gym Monster. So this equipment is jumping into the whole home trend like Tonal, Vitruvian, and other products that are trying to get the AI-based gym in your home. This one does come with a screen and has preloaded workouts that you can do. You can make your own programs. You can do free workouts. A lot of different things, and it tracks your progress over time. Do note, you may need a membership for some of the features that I'm listing off here. I believe as of shooting this video, if you got the product right now, you'd actually get a lifetime membership, but that is probably going to change in the future. Again, I got it for free and got a lifetime membership for free for testing it out and making a review. So I just wanted to let you know that beforehand. But I do really like this product when compared to a different one, the Vitruvian V-Form, that I tried a little while ago. And the big difference as to why I like this one versus other product is it has the pull down exercises available to you, whereas things like the Vitruvian didn't have that at all, and the Tonal you had to put into a wall, which I'm trying to avoid. So it's a standalone product that allows you to do vertical pulling movements. And for the average person, the Speediance will produce enough resistance for you. It's only about 220 pounds, but this type of resistance, with it being constant and all, and not like a free weight, is actually, to me, a bit harder than real weights. But again, it's only 220 pounds. There are some exercises I can actually max right off the bat. But again, for the average person, this will probably be enough. And I say the average person because, again, I've been working out for 10 years. So I have things like technique and form as a big focus of my current gym training. So I can kind of do those already. But if you're just starting out, you might need to actually work on that first, and then work up to being able to eventually max out the resistance it provides. Now that is my list of my 4 favorite setups I have. So we have resistance bands, we have dumbbells and body weight, and we have an AI gym in place here. So all different ranges, very cheap to extremely expensive, but kind of pick which one interests you the most and go that direction. And also, besides the Speediance, you probably don't even need to buy everything at once. Kind of start with the base of what you find will work, and then add pieces as you need to. So again, if you're using something like the resistance bands, you could probably just get the bands and bar, and then maybe later you get the step platform and things of that nature. Also, a lot of these, now that I have them all, I kind of mix and match, especially the dumbbells. So things like the platform or even the dumbbells themselves. Let's go with the dumbbells. I can switch them out as needed. So maybe I'm using the bench with the bar or the pull-up bar, but I'm using like the core fitness dumbbells and the hyperbells instead. Do know that the Dumbbells don't work with the hyperbell, so it's one of the reasons why I actually put it in that category. I wish they did, but they are not quite big enough. The handle is not quite long enough to fit the clamps on the end. So with that, I've discussed all 4 of my favorite setups based on the equipment I have today. Now, of course, this will probably change in the future, but just know these are the ones I tend to go with. But I also do mix and match here and there, so some equipment might work in other places. Take, for example, the step platform. I use it mainly in my resistance band training, but I also use it for things like calf raises, split squats, and whatnot with my dumbbells. So there is some mix and matching going on here, especially when it comes to like the bench and the pull-up bar with the different dumbbells and even the hyperbells. All that kind of stuff. There is additional mixing and matching that you can do along the way. And also, you don't have to buy all the equipment at once. You could go with the base features. So something like the dumbbells, you just start with dumbbells only and use body weight for the rest. Then over time, maybe you get the bench or you get some kind of doorway pull-up bar. Or maybe even with the resistance bands, you start with just the bands and the bar, or even the bands and just the handles. Again, just figure out ways to make it work, and then over time, save up for the additional pieces. You don't have to straight up buy all of them at once, like I've mentioned in here. I've been able to accrue these over time with some of the funds coming from this channel to allow you to kind of see the products and for me to pick and choose which things I really like and I think work well depending on the setup you have. So with that, if you have additional interest with some of these setups, feel free to take a look at the links in the description as I'm going to put some reviews down there, especially the Speediance if that one catches your eye, but I'll also put the other ones as well. But again, those are my favorite setups with this equipment and what I currently have. But again, things could change, so make sure you're subscribed for videos coming in the future.